There's a reason why some people remain unshaken. No matter what the world throws at them, chaos erupts, people betray them, plans collapse, and pain hits wave after wave. Yet they stand still, unmoved, calm, as if untouched by the storm. What do they know that you don't? Most people go through life reacting, snapping, worrying, breaking under the weight of things they can't control. But a few, those who truly see, they've unlocked something ancient. You only lose what you cling to. That one truth can free you from every invisible chain around your mind. Ask yourself, why does everything get to you so easily? Why is your peace always borrowed, never owned? In this video, we'll uncover what Buddhist masters and modern thinkers like Carl Jung knew all along. The real root of emotional power. If you get anything from this video, just get this. It's all you'll ever need. And wait till the end. There's a bonus lesson that could change everything. Number 1, why nothing should affect you anymore. What if I told you, nobody and nothing has the power to affect you unless you give them permission? Most people live like leaves in the wind, tossed by every opinion, every heartbreak, every small failure. But what if you stopped bending? What if you became the mountain instead of the leaf? There's a story from Buddhist teachings of a monk meditating atop a hill. A raging storm gathered, wind howled, lightning flashed, and thunder cracked across the sky. Yet the monk didn't move. Someone watching from afar asked him later, "Weren't you afraid?" The monk replied, "The storm was never inside me." You only burn when you believe the fire is real. You suffer not because of what happens, but because of what you think it means. That rejection, that silence, that mistake, they're just passing weather. But you mistake them for identity. This is where everything begins to shift. Most of us ask, why is this happening to me? But the real question is, what in me is reacting this way? Because suffering doesn't live in events. It lives in resistance, in attachment, in identification. A breakup doesn't break you. Your belief that you're unlovable does. A failed career move doesn't kill your worth. Your inner voice does, whispering that you're not enough. In Buddhist thought, the mind is a wild elephant. It tramples peace, chases desires and fears shadows. But mindfulness, the calm observer, tames it. When you become aware of your inner noise, it loses its power. You watch the fear rise and fall. You see the anger boil and dissolve. No reaction, no battle, just stillness. Ask yourself, who or what still controls your emotions? Is it the memory of someone who left? A job title you never got? A future that didn't unfold as planned? And then ask this. Are those things really you? Or are they just clouds, passing, temporary, unreal? The Buddha said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. You are not your pain. You are not your thoughts. You are not even your emotions. You are the space in which all these things come and go. The observer, the mountain." The next time chaos hits, practice radical stillness. When your phone buzzes with bad news, when someone insults you, when plans collapse, pause, breathe, observe. Can you let the storm rage while your soul remains unmoved? That's emotional sovereignty. That's power. When you stop outsourcing your peace to the world, you become untouchable. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't have to change. Your mind does. And when it does, you'll discover something extraordinary. You can walk through fire and not burn. So the question now is, what are you still holding on to that gives others power over your peace? Let it go. Let it fall away. And step into a life where nothing owns your emotions, except your conscious choice. Because freedom isn't about escaping pain, it's about not letting pain define you. And the moment you stop caring about things that don't matter is the moment everything real begins to rise. A calm mind is the ultimate form of strength. Be like the mountain, still, steady, and free, even in the storm. 2. The illusion of external control. You dance to the strings you refuse to see. But what if I told you those strings, they were never real? Imagine a marionette on a stage, moving with perfect precision. Every tilt of its head, every step it takes, looks deliberate. But it's not the puppet moving, it's the unseen hand above. Now ask yourself, how often are you dancing to someone else's rhythm? Most people don't live, they perform. For parents, for partners, for society. They shape-shift through life, terrified of disapproval, addicted to applause. But behind every fake smile is a silent question. If I stop pleasing them, will I still be loved? This is the illusion of external control. We hand over our emotional freedom, bit by bit, in exchange for validation. And before we realize it, we're not living our lives. We're playing roles we never chose. You say yes when your soul screams no. You hide your truth because you're afraid it's too much. You make decisions not because they feel right, but because they'll look right. And the tragedy is, you think you're being wise. You think you're being careful. But really, you're being controlled, not by force, but by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of being seen as different. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises not from what happens, but from clinging to illusions. And the biggest illusion is this, that your worth comes from the outside. It doesn't. You were born whole. You don't need to be more. You just need to be you, without apology. So take a moment and ask yourself, are you acting from truth or from habit? Are you choosing your path, or are you following someone else's map because it's familiar, comfortable, expected? Look closely. How many of your choices are filtered through the lens of what will they think? How often do you silence your voice to keep the peace, to fit in, to be liked? And the deeper question, whose script are you following, and why? The path to peace is the path of awareness. Begin by observing. Watch how you shrink when challenged. Notice how your energy shifts around certain people. Pay attention to the moments when your truth trembles at the altar of approval. That's where your freedom begins. Cut the strings. Not with anger, not with rebellion, but with clarity. Choose authenticity over applause. Speak when it's uncomfortable. Walk away when it's unpopular. And most of all, stop needing permission to be fully, unapologetically yourself. Because no one is coming to free you. The door isn't locked. It was never locked. You were always holding the key. The Buddha said, "No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path." That path begins when you stop being the puppet and become the hand. Let go of the illusion that others dictate your joy. They don't. They never did. Your life, your peace, your voice belongs to you. And the moment you stop dancing for them, you'll finally hear the music of your own soul. The most powerful thing you can ever do is stop performing. Just be. 3. How your subconscious dictates your reactions. You don't see things as they are. You see them as you are. And until you realize that, the world will feel like it's attacking you, judging you, rejecting you, when in truth, it's simply reflecting your own unhealed patterns. Imagine standing in front of a foggy mirror in a dark room. Everything looks distorted. You panic at the shapes. But the problem isn't out there. It's the mirror. It's the fog. It's you. Have you ever overreacted to something small and thought, why did that hurt so much? a word, a tone, a glance. Suddenly, you're spiraling. But if you pause, really pause and ask, where is this emotion actually coming from? You'll find it's not about the moment. It's about something buried, a wound, a memory, a belief you never questioned. The subconscious is like an invisible scriptwriter. It whispers, you're not good enough, people always leave, or, if I'm not perfect, I'll be abandoned. These whispers shape how you hear, how you feel, how you react. Someone forgets to text you back. It's not just a missed message, it becomes a confirmation of your deepest fear. I don't matter. But here's the truth. That fear isn't coming from now, it's coming from then. Buddhist philosophy teaches us to see clearly, not through the lens of our past, but through the stillness of now. You are not your emotions. You are not even the thoughts you believe. You are the one who can watch them all without reacting. That's your power. So the next time something triggers you, don't just react, reflect. Practice what I call a mirror moment. Instead of lashing out or shutting down, breathe. Ask, is this pain from this moment, or is it echoing something older? The mind repeats what it doesn't heal, but healing begins with awareness. And this isn't about becoming emotionless, it's about becoming conscious. Emotions are messengers, but when they're hijacked by old stories, they become traps. If you want to reclaim your peace, you have to retrain your mind to respond, not to repeat. Mindfulness is the tool. Stillness is the path. When you observe your triggers without judgment, you start rewriting the script. Slowly, the fog begins to clear. The mirror begins to reflect truth, not trauma. You stop reacting from your wounds and start responding from your wisdom. So ask yourself, what's the story behind my reaction? Am I living in the moment or reliving the past? And most importantly, do I want to stay stuck in the loop or break it? Because every reaction is a choice, and every choice is a chance to become new. The Buddha said, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. If you think from your pain, you become its prisoner. But if you think from awareness, you become free. Nobody and nothing can affect you when you're no longer reacting blindly. You become the mirror, clear, grounded, unshaken. That's what real power looks like. You'll never control the outside world, but master your inner world, and nothing outside can touch you. 4. Practical detachment from negativity. Let it touch you, but never sink into you. That's the power of practical detachment. Not the cold shutting down of emotion, but the warm awareness that allows life to pass through you without leaving scars. Imagine a lotus leaf in the rain. Drop after drop falls from the sky, but none of it sticks. The leaf doesn't resist the rain. It simply doesn't absorb it. This is how your mind can be, open to experience, yet untouched by its weight. But most people, they do the opposite. They carry every drop, every harsh word, every small failure, as if it were their identity. Someone criticizes you, and suddenly you doubt your worth. You face a setback, and you think you've failed at life. The mind absorbs it all, believing every passing thought and emotion is permanent. But ask yourself, how many of those moments that once felt unbearable do you even remember now? The pain passed. The thought faded. And yet, we suffer more than we need to because we grip what we're meant to release. Buddhism doesn't teach you to escape emotion. It teaches you to observe it. It invites you to sit with the sadness, the anger, the fear, but not to become it. Every thought is a visitor. Every feeling is a wave. You are not the visitor. You are not the wave. You are the awareness beneath it all, the stillness watching it rise and fall. The next time a negative thought enters your mind, try this. Visualize it like a raindrop landing on a lotus leaf. You see it, you feel it, but you don't hold it, you don't label it. You let it slide away, because you've finally realized you don't have to carry everything that comes your way. Think about the mental baggage you're holding right now, the resentment, the overthinking, the imagined conversations. What would happen if, just for today, you chose not to carry it forward? What if you didn't need closure, revenge, or even understanding, just the courage to release? Because detachment isn't about becoming numb. It's about becoming free. It's saying, yes, this hurt, but it doesn't have to define me. It's the difference between experiencing emotion and being consumed by it. And this shift, subtle as it seems, can completely change your inner world. The Buddha said, "You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf." Detachment is that surfboard. It's how you remain grounded when the world is unsteady. It's how you create space between what happens and how you respond. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, do I want to carry this pain any further? Or can I let it slide away now? And watch how your inner world changes when you choose to release instead of react. You don't have to suppress anything. You just have to stop clinging to what doesn't serve you. Your peace is not found in controlling life. It's found in not being controlled by it. Detach not because you don't feel, but because you finally understand what's worth your energy. Be like the lotus, rooted in peace, untouched by the storm. 5. What happens when you just stop caring? You spend your life carrying things that were never yours to hold. Opinions that don't belong to you. Expectations inherited, not chosen. Noise disguised as truth. And then you wonder why your mind feels so heavy, why peace is always just out of reach. But ask yourself, what am I so full of that there's no room left for stillness? Because only the empty can be filled with peace. Picture a cup filled with murky water. No matter how much pure, clean water you pour in, it stays clouded until you empty it. That's your mind when it's cluttered with unnecessary cares. You cannot pour peace into a cup already filled with chaos. You must first stop caring about what doesn't matter. And this doesn't mean apathy. It means clarity. It means stepping away from the exhausting need to please everyone, the constant comparison, the endless striving to prove yourself. True detachment is not indifference, it's intelligent focus. When you stop caring about what's meaningless, you make space for what is real. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." But most of us look in the wrong places. We chase validation, applause, perfection. We fill our days with distractions, hoping to outrun the discomfort of our own minds. But the moment you stop, the moment you let go of the need to be seen, to be liked, to be right, that's when clarity begins. Ask yourself honestly, what do I care about that's draining me? Is it someone's approval? A fear of judgment? A past mistake you keep rehearsing in your mind? Every day, choose to drop just one of these, just one, and observe what happens when you make space. Because what happens when you just stop caring is this. The noise fades, the pressure lifts, you begin to see with new eyes. You realize that most of the things that kept you awake at night don't even matter in the silence of your soul. And in that silence, a deeper voice emerges, the voice of your true self. The self that doesn't need fixing, proving, or performing. The self that simply is. This is not the absence of responsibility, it's the presence of wisdom. When you care only for what aligns with your values, your energy stops scattering. You act from calm, not chaos. From intention, not reaction. You become grounded, whole, unshakable. So make this your practice. Each day, remove one unimportant care. Unfollow that noisy voice. Forgive what no longer serves you. Release the opinion that doesn't reflect your truth. Let go, not because it's easy, but because your peace depends on it. Because the goal is not to win every argument or control every outcome. The goal is to return to yourself. And you can't do that while carrying the weight of what was never yours. In the end, peace doesn't come when everything is perfect. It comes when you decide to no longer be disturbed by the imperfect. Let the murky water go. Let stillness replace striving. Empty your cup and see what flows in. 6. You are not your thoughts. Thoughts come and go like the wind. One moment you feel like you're enough, the next you're drowning in self-doubt. One moment everything seems fine, and then a single thought spins your peace into panic. But here's the truth. You are not your thoughts. And until you understand that, you'll be a prisoner in your own mind. Imagine a flag flapping violently in the wind. The flag moves, but the pole stays still. That's who you really are, the stillness, the observer, the awareness, not the movement, not the mind. Most of your suffering doesn't come from reality, it comes from the narrative in your mind. That quiet voice whispering, "You're not doing enough. They don't respect you. You'll never get there." But pause and ask yourself, are these facts or just clouds passing through the sky of your mind? Because if you mistake every cloud for a storm, you'll always feel like you're under attack. Buddhist philosophy teaches us something powerful. It's not the wind that moves, but the mind. In other words, what disturbs you isn't the world, but your interpretation of it. The world can be loud, yes. People may judge, situations may hurt, things may fall apart. But it's your thoughts about those events that create your emotional reality. If you can learn to observe your thoughts instead of becoming them, you reclaim your freedom. Begin with this simple practice. Journal. Write your thoughts every morning without censoring. Then step back and look. Would you believe a stranger if they wrote those words? Would you take them as truth? Likely not. You'll begin to notice how repetitive, fearful, and irrational many thoughts are. And that's the point. You are the one watching those thoughts. You are not the chaos. You are the calm watching the chaos. When emotions rise, say to yourself, "This is a thought. This is a feeling. I am not this." Imagine yourself as the vast sky, and every emotion, every story, every fear is just a passing cloud. Some are dark, some loud, but none of them stay forever, and none of them are you. What would your life look like if you stopped reacting to every passing cloud as if it were your identity? True freedom isn't found by controlling every thought. It's found by no longer believing all of them. When you're stuck in your head, life feels heavy. But when you become the observer, everything shifts. You realize your mind can scream, but it doesn't have to move you. You can feel sadness and still act with grace. You can hear fear and still move forward in courage. So here's the shift. Don't try to change every thought. Just stop attaching to them. Let them arise. Let them pass. Let the wind blow. But don't be the flag, be the pole, still, grounded, unshakable. You are not the storm, you are the sky it moves through. The mind will always produce noise, but your awareness, your true self, is silent, spacious, and free. And once you remember that, nothing can truly affect you again. 7. Bend without breaking. You've been taught that to be strong, you must stand firm, resist, fight back. But what if real strength isn't about resisting at all? What if it's about bending, not breaking? Life doesn't wait for you to be ready. It moves like the wind, fast, chaotic, unpredictable. And if you meet that wind with rigidity, something eventually snaps. But look at the bamboo. It bends, it sways, it moves with the storm, and when the storm passes, it's still standing, tall, rooted, alive. That's the kind of strength you're being asked to develop now, not to harden, but to soften with wisdom. Most people believe control equals safety. If they can control the outcome, the timing, the emotions of others, maybe then they won't get hurt. But life is the ultimate teacher in impermanence. It will shake your plans, shift your relationships, and throw curveballs when you least expect it. And in those moments, your ability to adapt, not to resist, is what determines your peace. In Buddhism, the concept of non-resistance isn't weakness, it's freedom. It's the ability to say, this is what's happening. I will not fight reality, I will flow with it. You don't lose yourself by surrendering. You lose yourself by clinging to things you were never meant to control. Ask yourself in every difficulty, what can I surrender without losing myself? Maybe it's your need to be understood, your craving for certainty, your fear of being alone. Let it go, not because you don't care, but because you finally do care about your peace more than your pride. In the face of emotional storms, heartbreak, rejection, failure, don't resist the pain. Let it move through you. Let it teach you. Bend with it. Feel it fully, but don't let it define you. The bamboo teaches us that resilience isn't found in tension. It's found in movement, in trust, in flow. When life breaks your rhythm, don't shatter. Recalibrate, realign, respond, don't react. There's a quiet power in surrender, a power that says, even if the plan changes, I will not lose my center. Because the world outside will always be uncertain, but the space within you can become a sanctuary. The more flexible your mind, the less life can shake you. Practice releasing what you can't control. Practice acceptance, not as resignation, but as strength. Acceptance means you see clearly, act wisely, and stop wasting energy resisting what already is. Flexibility doesn't mean becoming passive, it means becoming wise. It means asking yourself, where can I yield so I don't collapse? In your next challenge, don't try to dominate it. Dance with it. Adapt. Trust the rhythm of life to carry you, even when it feels uncomfortable. The river flows not because it's strong, but because it's willing to move. He who is flexible is stronger than he who resists. You don't have to control the wind, you just have to stop standing in its way. Let it pass. Let it teach. Let it carry away what no longer belongs. Be like the bamboo, rooted in peace, open to change, impossible to break. That's when nothing and nobody will ever truly disturb your center again. 8. Stop measuring yourself by others. You weren't born to be a copy. Yet somewhere along the way, you started measuring your worth by timelines, titles, and the twisted yardsticks of strangers. Someone got the job, someone else got married. They traveled, bought a house, posted smiling photos, and you looked at your own life and felt behind. But behind what exactly? Behind who? You never stopped to ask, whose race am I even running? Comparison isn't harmless. It's a silent thief. It creeps in during your quiet moments, robs you of joy, and whispers that you're not enough, not yet. But here's the truth. The moment you stop comparing, you start living. In Buddhist thought, comparison is one of the roots of suffering. Why? Because it pulls you away from presence. It replaces gratitude with grasping, peace with performance. You no longer live your life, you live someone else's highlight reel. But life isn't a competition, it's a path, and no two paths are ever identical. Imagine a room full of clocks, each ticking to its own rhythm. Some run fast, others are slow, but even the broken one, it's still right twice a day. And so are you. You don't have to tick like the rest to be valid. You only have to be true. Ask yourself, whose timeline am I trying to follow? Was it programmed by your parents, society, social media, or a younger version of you who didn't know better? The moment you start untangling these threads, you reclaim your narrative. You stop asking, why am I not there yet? And start wondering, where am I really? And what do I actually want? That's when you begin to live, not from reaction, but from awareness. Comparison thrives in the digital world. Every scroll tells a story of someone who's seemingly doing better, going faster, shining brighter. But behind those screens are human beings, struggling, doubting, hurting, just like you. Their path isn't better. It's just different, and often filtered. To disconnect from that illusion is to reconnect with yourself. Try this. Take a break from digital noise. Step outside. Watch nature. The sunflower never tries to be the rose. The oak doesn't compete with the pine. And yet, everything blooms exactly as it should. You were never meant to bloom like anyone else. Your growth is not late. It's layered. It's unfolding in silence, just as it must. Some people peak early, some late. Some lives are quiet, others loud. None are wrong. What's wrong is thinking yours should look like theirs. So whenever that wave of comparison hits, pause. Don't react. Observe. Ask, is this my truth or someone else's expectation? Redirect the energy from envy to appreciation, from judgment to curiosity. There's no need to rush, no deadline for becoming, and no finish line that proves your worth. Peace begins when you give yourself full permission to grow at your own pace, in your own way. No flower questions its bloom. Neither should you. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. And when you stop measuring your life by someone else's ruler, you'll finally feel free. 9. Say no without guilt, the sword of compassionate boundaries. There comes a moment in every life when the soul whispers, enough. Enough of being stretched thin for people who never stretch for you. Enough of dimming your light to make others comfortable. Enough of saying yes when your entire being is screaming no. But you hesitate. You're afraid they'll think you don't care, that you're selfish, that you've changed. But maybe that's not the problem. Maybe the problem is you've cared too much for too long, and now it's costing you yourself. The truth is simple, yet hard to swallow. Compassion includes yourself. Boundaries are love in action. And when you start saying no without guilt, you begin to taste a freedom that was always yours. In Buddhist philosophy, the sword is a powerful symbol. Not of violence, but of clarity. It cuts through illusion. When wielded with awareness, it becomes the sword of compassion. Your boundaries can be that sword, not sharp in cruelty, but in truth. Not to sever connection, but to protect what is sacred, your peace. Saying no doesn't mean you're unkind. It means you're no longer willing to abandon yourself for acceptance. It means you're choosing alignment over approval. Like a skilled swordsman, you can be precise and gentle at the same time. A soft, "No, I can't," is a complete sentence. No drama, no apology, just presence. But here's where it gets difficult. The guilt. That ache in your chest when someone reacts poorly to your boundary. That fear that they'll withdraw their love. But you must remember, their reaction is their karma, not your guilt. You're not responsible for managing their emotions. You're responsible for managing your own integrity. So ask yourself, what have you been tolerating that your soul is begging you to end? Is it the friend who only calls when they need something? The job that drains your spirit? The habit of always saying yes because it's easier than facing conflict? These are the quiet leaks where your energy escapes. And every time you ignore them, you teach the world that your needs are negotiable. They're not. One powerful way to reclaim your space is to create sacred time. A weekly, non-negotiable appointment with yourself. No screens, no obligations, just silence, breath, and being. In that stillness, something powerful happens. You begin to hear your truth again, and that truth becomes your compass. You no longer bend in directions that break you. You no longer chase validation in exchange for self-betrayal. You rise, rooted. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care deeply, but with wisdom. You stop pouring from an empty cup. You stop setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. You let go of the need to be understood by everyone because you're finally understood by the only person who matters, you. So the next time someone asks for more than you can give, try this. Pause, breathe, and say no without guilt. Then watch what happens, not to them, but within you. Peace, strength, clarity, a sword that protects without wounding. That is the boundary born from love. And in that space, you'll discover a truth that changes everything. You don't have to explain your peace to anyone. You only have to live it. 10. Detach to see clearly. Imagine you are the bird soaring high above a dense forest. From this height, the chaos of the trees, the scurrying of the worms below, all those tiny, urgent details blur into a bigger picture. You see the paths, the clearings, the rivers winding through the green. When you are caught in the thicket of life's struggles, whether it's a breakup that shatters your sense of self, a career that feels like quicksand, or the dizzying shift in identity that leaves you unsure who you really are, you are like the worm trapped in the dirt, overwhelmed by the immediacy of pain. But detachment, the Buddhist wisdom teaches, is the tool that lifts you into the sky where clarity resides. It is not indifference or coldness, but the space that allows you to see beyond the moment's turmoil. To detach means to create distance between yourself and the storm, so you can witness it without being swallowed. When your emotions pull you under, the first step is to mentally zoom out. Imagine looking at your current struggle from 10 years in the future. How small does it become? What lessons does that distant you glean from this painful moment? This practice is like the bird's flight. It teaches you perspective. You realize that the tempest you're drowning in is but one chapter of a larger story. You begin to understand that suffering, while inevitable, is also transient. This isn't to dismiss your feelings, it's to empower you to step out of their grip. You are not your pain. You are the sky witnessing the weather, not the storm itself. Detachment invites you to ask a powerful question. If I were not emotionally entangled, what would I do right now? This question is a door. It opens space between reaction and response, between being swept away and choosing your path. Instead of reacting to every emotional trigger as if your life depends on it, you pause. You become the observer. What once seemed urgent loses its hold. Decisions born of calm clarity replace frantic, fear-driven choices. Think of your life like a river. When you are caught in the rapids, rushing, crashing, panicking, you lose control. But if you rise above the river on a nearby hill, you see its twists and turns. You understand how it flows. You see where it narrows, where it widens, and where you can step out safely. Detachment gives you that vantage point. It shows you the options that panic conceals. This clarity shrinks your suffering because it dissolves the illusion that you are powerless. You realize that emotional storms do not have to define you. They are temporary visitors, not permanent residents. The pain doesn't vanish instantly, but your relationship to it transforms. You gain the freedom to choose your attitude, your next action, your direction. When you learn to detach, you reclaim your emotional sovereignty. You become the master of your inner world, rather than a prisoner of circumstances. This doesn't mean withdrawing from life. It means engaging from a place of strength and wisdom. Like the bird, you rise above the noise, the panic, the judgments, and see your life in full view. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, remember the bird. Elevate your awareness, zoom out, ask, what would I do if I were free from this emotional entanglement? Let this question guide you. Let detachment be your flight. Because when you see clearly, you are unstoppable. Nobody and nothing can affect you again. Not because you are unaffected, but because you have chosen to see beyond the moment, beyond the pain, into the vast sky of your own being. 11. Embrace impermanence. Imagine watching a Tibetan sand mandala being crafted, each grain carefully placed, creating a pattern so intricate and beautiful it seems eternal. Yet, after hours or days, a single sweep of a brush dissolves it all, scattering the sand into the wind. This is the powerful lesson of impermanence. Nothing lasts forever, and holding on too tightly only causes pain. In life, whether it's a relationship that ends, a job lost, or the shifting sense of who you are, everything is in constant flux. What comes will go, what stays will shift. Recognizing this truth is not about resignation, but liberation. It frees you from the endless cycle of grasping and suffering. Many of us live as if we can control the flow of life, trying to anchor ourselves to stability in a sea of change. But this is like trying to hold water in your hands. It slips through no matter how tightly you grasp. The moment you understand that every situation, every feeling, every person is temporary, your suffering begins to loosen its grip. Imagine breathing in this truth deeply. This moment is fleeting. The pain you feel now, the joy you treasure, the fears that consume you, they are all passing clouds in the vast sky of your life. The challenge is to practice creating without clinging. Can you build something meaningful, whether it's a relationship, a career, or a dream, and still love it without needing to hold on forever? Can you love fully, knowing that nothing lasts? This is where true freedom lies. It's not about becoming indifferent or cold. It's about cultivating a warm awareness that welcomes life's changes without being crushed by them. Like the sand mandala artist, you pour your heart into the moment, knowing it will eventually change or end, and that is okay. Letting go of expectation is one of the hardest things we face. We expect people to stay, situations to remain comfortable, ourselves to be the same. When reality refuses to meet these expectations, suffering arises. But if you release these rigid hopes, if you open your hands and heart to the flow, you find a profound peace. You learn to dance with change instead of resisting it. This is the essence of Buddhist wisdom. Freedom is found not in permanence, but in acceptance of impermanence. Think about a breakup that shattered your world. At first, it felt like your entire identity was lost. But as time passed, you saw yourself healing, growing, shifting. The pain softened. That pain was real, but it was also impermanent. This shift allowed you to reclaim your life. The same happens with every loss or change. Each ending is the opening of a new beginning. Each release invites growth. Each impermanence teaches you resilience. When you embrace impermanence, you no longer fear loss, because you understand it as part of life's natural rhythm. You stop chasing permanence in things that were never meant to last, and instead, you anchor yourself in the present moment, open, flexible, alive. This acceptance transforms how you relate to the world and to yourself. You stop suffering over what cannot be controlled and start living fully in the face of change. So ask yourself now, what am I holding on to that causes me pain? What would happen if I breathed in the truth of impermanence and gently let it go? How would my life change if I loved without needing to keep? When you answer these questions, you step into a new freedom, a freedom where nobody and nothing can affect you again, because you no longer cling to what must shift. You become like the sand mandala, beautiful, present, and free to dissolve and recreate again and again, embracing the flow of life with courage and grace. Bonus lesson: the silent warrior, power without noise. There is a story of a tiger moving silently through a dense forest. It does not roar to announce its presence, nor does it seek the approval of the animals around it. Yet every creature senses its power, calm, undeniable, and complete. This is the essence of true strength. It does not need to shout, perform, or prove itself. It simply is. Imagine the difference between the tiger and someone constantly seeking attention, applause, or validation to feel strong. The tiger's power comes from within, stable, silent, and unwavering. What if you could embody that same quiet strength in your life, especially when everything feels overwhelming or chaotic? Most of us chase a kind of power that is noisy, defined by how much we can dominate, impress, or control others. But this kind of power is fragile. It requires constant effort, and the moment the spotlight fades, insecurity creeps in. True power, the kind Buddhism points us toward, is an inner stability so deep that no external storm can shake it. This power is a silent warrior inside you, waiting to be awakened. It is the calm in your mind that doesn't need to prove itself with arguments or force. It is the steady breath in the middle of emotional turbulence. Imagine your mind as that quiet forest, a place where the tiger moves without disturbance. How often do you find yourself reacting impulsively, driven by fear, anger, or the need to be right? Those reactions are like loud roars. They attract attention, but do not build lasting strength. Instead, practice being deliberate in your responses. When provoked, pause. Choose to respond not from reactivity, but from alignment with your deeper values and peace. This is the power of restraint, the kind of power that commands respect without saying a word. Building unshakable calm is not about suppressing emotions or becoming numb. It's about cultivating awareness so clear that temporary applause or criticism loses its grip on your soul. You learn to stand rooted like the tiger in the forest, unbothered by passing noise. This inner calm becomes your sanctuary, your place of power where no one and nothing can affect you. What if instead of chasing approval or fighting every battle, you focused on strengthening this silent presence within? Ask yourself, what kind of power am I chasing? Is it the fleeting kind that depends on external validation? Or is it the enduring strength that comes from inner peace? If you are honest, you might realize that much of your struggle comes from trying to prove something to others or even to yourself. The truth is, you don't need to prove anything. Your power lies in simply being grounded in your true self, steady and serene. This silent warrior inside you grows stronger every time you choose calm over chaos, presence over performance, and truth over drama. It is a power that does not shout, but influences everything around you with grace and certainty. Like the tiger, you move through life with a quiet confidence that no one can shake, because it's rooted deep inside, beyond the reach of fleeting circumstances. So next time you feel overwhelmed by pressures or tempted to react loudly, remember the tiger in the forest. You don't have to roar to be powerful. Power without noise is the most profound strength you can cultivate. It allows you to face life's challenges with unshakable calm and, ultimately, to live a life where nobody and nothing can affect you again. Quick summary of the principles. The fireproof mind. Nothing has the power to disturb your inner peace unless you give it permission. True strength is built by learning to observe without absorbing. Practice remaining grounded regardless of what's happening around you. Stillness in the storm is your real power. The puppet strings. Most of what controls you is invisible. Expectations, opinions, old beliefs. Freedom begins when you cut those mental strings. Live by your own values, not by the rules of others. Stop seeking approval and start owning your life. The deep mirror. Your reactions aren't random. They come from deep subconscious patterns. Recognize when the past is speaking through you. The more awareness you build, the more freedom you gain. Respond with consciousness, not conditioning. The raindrop on lotus. Negativity will knock, but it doesn't have to stay. You can observe without engaging. Detachment is not rejection, it's emotional clarity. Let go of what doesn't serve your peace. The empty cup. When you stop caring about meaningless things, you create space for inner stillness. Peace doesn't come from having more, it comes from needing less. Begin releasing one false need at a time to feel truly free. The wind and the flag. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. Let thoughts pass like clouds in the sky. Stop personalizing every mental fluctuation. The less you identify, the more peaceful you become. The bamboo wisdom. Resisting life creates suffering. Flexibility is true strength. When you surrender control and accept the moment, life flows more freely. Strength lies in adaptability, not in rigid perfection. The broken clock. Comparison is a poison to your peace. You are on your own unique timeline. Honor that. Stop measuring your worth by others' progress. You are enough even when the world is moving differently. Say no without guilt. Saying no is self-respect, not selfishness. Boundaries protect your energy, focus, and inner peace. Let others deal with their reactions. You are not responsible for everyone's comfort, only your truth. The sky perspective. Sometimes all you need is distance to gain clarity. Detachment lets you see the bigger picture. Zoom out emotionally when overwhelmed. It helps you act from wisdom instead of impulse. The sand mandala. Everything is temporary. Your pain, your joy, your situation. When you accept impermanence, you stop clinging and start flowing. Peace comes when you love without attachment and live without fear of loss. The silent warrior. True power doesn't need to shout, it radiates from within. Don't waste energy on proving yourself. The quiet mind is the strongest force. Let your presence speak louder than your performance. You were never meant to carry the world on your shoulders. Yet somewhere along the way, you started believing that every opinion, every outcome, every little thing deserved your attention. It's time to reclaim your focus, your peace, and your inner strength. When you stop caring about what doesn't matter, you start making space for what truly does. Control doesn't come from dominating life. It comes from mastering your own reactions. And this mastery begins with awareness. Realize that your peace is not in the hands of your circumstances. It lives quietly within you, waiting to be noticed, cultivated, and protected like a sacred flame. Every time you respond with wisdom instead of reflex, you're shaping a more peaceful life. The mind can either be your prison or your sanctuary. By letting go of the noise, the drama, and the meaningless battles, you enter a space of power. You don't need to be loud to be strong. You don't need to prove anything to be worthy. You just need to be fully present and deeply connected to your values. Zen teaches us, the obstacle is the path. What you've been trying to avoid is often where your freedom lives. Lean into discomfort, detach from illusion, accept the impermanence of all things. When you live with that kind of clarity, nothing can truly harm you, and nothing can take your peace. If this message sparked something within you, let it grow. Like and share this video. Drop your thoughts in the comment box below. And don't forget to subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more life-changing Buddhist insights on how to live a peaceful, powerful, and present life.